I'm Andrew Jacobson, Oboe professor at Colorado State University, and today I'll be helping you prepare for the Colorado All-State Band and Orchestra auditions. This year's Fast Etude is found on page 15 of the Voxman Selected Studies for Oboe. It is marked vivace and is in B-flat major. The etude originally appears in Fairling's 48 Studies for Oboe. Today, we'll be discussing how to read or learn a technical piece of music quickly by noticing patterns. We'll also be discussing the use of left-hand F versus forked F. The etude begins with a triumphant perfect fourth interval. Play this with conviction, and it will help you both set up the etude musically and prepare you for a confident performance. In this etude, there are lots of familiar patterns, mostly scales, but also arpeggios, as well as seventh chords. In order to learn a piece quickly, it is helpful to already have these patterns under your fingers. Hopefully, you've learned and are in the habit of practicing your major and minor scales, but also it's important to work on your arpeggios as well as seventh chords. A great resource for this is the very first page of the Vade Mecum of the Oboist, which goes a little something like this. As you can see, it starts with a tonic triad, followed by a dominant seventh, and alternates back and forth, eventually ending on the tonic. This will come in handy in many etudes, as well as other pieces of music. In this etude in particular, at measure 9, we have a B-flat major triad throughout the entire measure. If you already know your B-flat major triad, you can take one look at it and have it memorized in seconds. In the second measure, we have an E-flat major triad, same thing. In measure 11, we have what's known as a fully diminished seventh chord. These are worth learning because they show up a lot, and there are only 3 unique fully diminished seventh chords in existence. So once you learn those 3, you're set. Finally, in the second to last measure of this excerpt, measure 15, is an F major triad across the entire range of the oboe, low C all the way up to high F. Here again, if you've been practicing your arpeggios, you have a head start on this measure. This etude, being in B-flat major, is a great opportunity to practice alternate F fingerings. In addition to using the normal F, you will also need the forked F as well as the left-hand F. If you have a left F on your oboe, I recommend using it as much as you can in this etude, just to get really used to using it. In practice, I only use the left F when I have to. That is, when neither the forked F nor the regular F work, or if I don't want the color of the forked F, and the regular F doesn't work. When I say the regular F doesn't work, I mean that you have to slide your fingers around the oboe in order to use it. A perfect example of where you might want to use an alternate F is in measure 15. Here you can use regular F on the downbeat, but for the following 2 Fs, you have to choose either forked or left-hand F. It's up to you which you use. In measure 5, however, left F is probably the best choice since you hold that note for a full 1/8 and will want to avoid the timbre of the forked F. Occasionally, there are situations when you might want the timbre of the forked F, for example, when the music calls for a more soft, fuzzy sound. In general, though, you want to avoid it unless the music is going by fast enough that you won't notice its funny tone color. Because this etude is marked vivace, I'll feel free to use the forked F quite a bit. Thanks for listening, and good luck with your audition. Feel free to contact me with any questions.